Jam TV show. Wow. 80 times 2, 160. That's good. How you doing, Bill?
We didn't rehearse that either. That was like two people drinking at the same time.
That's the answer. So
I was just thinking of. I just for some reason they popped in my mind because I was looking at some stuff yesterday and I came across some graphics that I had done for them. The Szynskis, where are they? What are they doing?
Right. I send Brian an invite every week. And, they had another kid, and, they got
right.
two kids, and who knows, who knows what's going on with them. But I'm going to reach out to them and get them on because I miss them too.
No, they were super friggin' talented, and it was always a joy to see them at Bobby Q's.
But
I like the shirt, by the way. That's a great shirt.
So I've got this shirt. All right. So I play in a band called the Hot Rubber Monkey Band, right? So I got I got the monkeys, and then I've got the lady, right? The acrobat. Being eaten by the giant alligator. I
like that.
Oh yeah, that's the shirt.
That's a good shirt.
And I'm wearing it tonight for the simple reason that my gig Saturday. No, yeah, it is clean. But I have a gig on Saturday with Hot Rubber Monkey Band. It's sold out, so nobody can come to it. Okay, it's at Campo Beach in Westport. Wow. It's right on the water with tents and everything. Stu Leonard's. It's a lobster fest. Stu Leonard's is providing. You get corn and potato and 2 giant lobsters for your admission price. And there's like 500 people going and it's sold out. It's going to be a gale and blowing and raining and miserable, but they still are doing it.
I was just going to ask because, beach boy, me, it's like weather is everything. And there's a wedding on Saturday at Pinckney Park in Rowayton, and it'll be 2 weeks ago. There was a wedding, and the weather never hit. It was kind of like the typical weather where like the forecast was awful and it didn't quite happen. Which is nice.
That's what's happening.
I'll be in Utah, so I know my weather will be good. Pretty much.
That's the way to do it. Saturday is going to be the washout of washouts. So I literally wrote the band leader or the guy that did the gig, that booked the gig, and who knows the people. It's the Westport Rotarians, the Rotary Club, right?
Right.
And he knows them, or he's in the road, or whatever it is, right? The fix is in, and we've done it 5 years, or at least 5 years, and I didn't believe him. I'm like, do me a favor, don't make me drive out here from Pennsylvania. And then it's canceled. Oh, it's raining. It's canceled. He's like, they will not cancel this. I am sending you the emails that they all sent me. So he sent me like 10 emails of them going like, we're going to put you in a tent with 4 sides. I'm like, 4 sides? Like, how about 3 sides? Somebody wants to see the band,
Well, no, I mean, it's but it's a whole, when you got a tent there, there's a whole bar you got to jump over, depending, if it's 40 miles per hour or something like that, it's a whole different routine. And
that's right.
To get codes, get permits, get all that stuff, you got to be.
That's what we're doing. They're going to have the best tents there are, and we're playing on Saturday. And I'm going to be wearing this shirt. I'm going to be soaking wet.
They used to have this kind of more grassroots lobster bake at Rowayton's Bailey Beach, and it was kind of a DIY kind of, the people kind of put it on, but they got a tent and the tent was on the beach and everything. And they did it. And it was a gale one time. And I mean, the people were literally hanging on sideways to like the posts, it looked like a Norman Rockwell illustration kind of thing,
There's very little difference between a tent and a hang glider when it's blowing hard,
Yeah. No.
Anyway.
And if they fill up, like if it fills up with air, woo.
All right, do a song. I see we got Nick Carter in the studio tonight.
Nick Carter, yeah, I saw.
And Dave Robinson. We'll bring them on after this song.
I saw a picture of Nick on Facebook. He had a gig or something like that.
Some fancy thing he's doing. So.
Ever bed dance avec moi ce soir, fais dodo. Dance avec moi, bed under the stormy sky. Papa, ia volou la terre vache. Dance avec moi, bed under the stormy sky. Jean-Paul joue violon, le bel accordéon. Dance avec moi, Babette, on this stormy night. I hear the whippoorwill will cry. See the blue heron fly over Sugar Hill, snowy white. Big blue siren in the night. Come with me, Babette, we on stormy sky. I hear the T-H-N-B, the diesel turning, calling you and me to the city of steel, smokestacks and spinning wheels. Come with me, Babette, under the stormy sky. My heart, it is sad to leave Sugar Town. Goodbye, Sugar Hill, on this stormy night. Hey, Babette, dance avec moi ce soir, fais dodo. Dance avec moi, Babette, we go under the stormy sky. Under the stormy sky. Under the stormy sky. Oui.
All right.
All right, what you got there, Wild Man?
Yeah, you know where I got this shirt from?
No.
Can you guys hear me?
Yeah, we hear you fine. How you doing, David?
Okay, because I got a totally different setup. I'm sitting at my drums.
Nick Carter.
Yeah, man. Bill Noman, do you know and remember Preston Stewart?
Oh yeah.
Of course you do.
Yep.
Well, he's responsible for this T-shirt.
Wow.
This
There you go.
wild.
And is that a brand of something?
Yeah, of his.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's
Very
the
nice.
one who he put it together. And I reached out to him and I asked him, "Do you have a 3X for a big guy?" He said, "Yeah."
Very nice. Very nice. Nick Carter, how you doing?
I'm doing great. How are you guys? Good to see everybody.
You
Yes,
missed
good to see
everybody
you.
missed the memo on the shirt except me, but you have a piece of artwork that is more colorful than my shirt. What's going on with that?
Well, this thing here, it's
Yeah.
so it's a gift from somebody who was a house guest of ours a while ago.
Nice.
She comes from Senegal,
Wow.
and very, very cool lady named Tiaba. And the long story is Tiaba came to the States a couple of years ago and became suddenly very ill.
Oh,
And but in her recovery, she stayed with us, and as a gift, she sent this thing, and it's basically a rising. I'm sorry, you really can't see it.
I can
had-
sort of see it. Yeah, I can see it.
I had a musicians on call thing today, and I was too lazy to stand up
It's great.
of the camera,
Very cool.
so I could sit. So there you
Beautiful.
can see it now. It's a rising of the phoenix,
Mhm.
and it has a long story. Senegalese weaving. This is braided. This is woven into the carpet. This is not a paint
Wow.
job. Kind of.
Right.
Wow, that's great.
That's cool.
And we were very sort of like, just very like,
Yes.
this woman's a very special lady. And
Yes.
anyway, so
That's
there it is.
beautiful.
There it is. Yeah.
Well, it's nice to see you.
Good to see you. Good to see you, Bill and David.
Good to
Yes.
see you, Nick.
That's great. So,
What's that song, Bill? I liked that, what you just played.
It's
It had
it's
French
by
in it. I was
Daniel
like-
Lanois.
It had a Creole or a,
Oh, it's Under the Stormy Sky. Daniel Lanois is he's like a Canadian,
Yes.
like Cajun
Those
Canadian.
French people have a different word for everything. You know,
Yeah.
I heard it. I was like, am I not hearing what is happening with this song? Like, I don't
Hey, do. I get it. Right.
You know, and Lanois is, if you don't know this, he's one of the greatest producers of music of, Peter Gabriel, So, Joshua Tree, U2.
Right. What's his name? What's his name again?
Daniel Lanois, Lanois. And he also had this cool band called Black Dub that was really cool. He's kind of moved to New Orleans, but he reflects both cultures. It's
right.
It's history. It started up there, ended up down there, and the usual.
Nice. I'm glad I asked. Nice song. I enjoyed it.
Fantastic, beautiful stuff. So play another one, Bill Norman. Let's get some music out tonight.
I came early. I wanted to hear Bill.
Awesome.
There you go.
Be careful what you wish for. This old town filled with sin, it'll swallow you in. If you got some money to burn, take it home right away. You got 3 years to pay, and Satan is waiting his turn. The scientists say it'll all wash away, but we don't believe anymore. 'Cause we've got our recruits in their green mohair suits. So please show your ID at the door. This old earthquake's gonna leave me in the poorhouse. It seems like this whole town's insane. On the 31st floor, a gold-plated door won't keep out the Lord's burning rain. A fool came around, tried to clean up this town. His ideas made some people mad, but he trusted in his crowd. He spoke right out loud. They lost the best friend they ever had. This old earthquake's gonna leave me in the poorhouse. It seems like this whole town's insane. On 31st floor, a gold-plated door won't keep out the Lord's burning rain. On the 31st floor, a gold-plated door won't keep out the Lord's burning rain.
All right. Beautiful. Beautiful. Beautiful.
Very nice.
Beautiful.
Very nice. You're on, Bill. You're on tonight. What are you on that you're so on?
I'm on like a incredibly annoying 1 hour of dealing with Delta trying to correct a screw up that I did. I'm going to visit my son tomorrow, my annual testosterone trip where I go out to Utah to hang with my boy.
Yeah.
And I get the check-in thing today, and I'm looking at him like, WTF, as you kids say, this thing is coming back to Newark, not JFK, where I'm leaving from. And I'm like, how the hell did that happen? So then I had to like change this, and you know how it goes. You're trying to get something done, and it's half recordings and half other stuff. It's like, and you try to do it online, and then my OS on my Mac is crap. The laptop that I have, the Microsoft laptop I have from work is crap. It's like nothing works perfect.
And your son doesn't live there, so you can't get the one I gave you working. So
no, the one you gave me, it wasn't quite functional.
Oh no.
No, it wasn't. I mean, it was. I appreciate the thought. It really wasn't any more functional than my Mac is, which is the OS system is here. It's hit the ceiling, and there's I don't know what mountain they're on now, but they left me at like Yosemite or something, and I think now they're at Kathmandu or something. I don't know where they are.
Exactly.
I'm like
I know
way
what
out of
that's
the
like. My friend John Konya, you guys knew John Konya, right?
Sure.
John Konya, his daughter Anna lived in Florida, where they were going somewhere. They were going on a trip, and at the airport, and she made the reservations, and they get to the airport, and she misspelled their last name. It was like Konyana, Koyna or something. It was like a switch of letters. It was a typo, and they wouldn't let them on the plane.
Yeah,
it was during like security. They're like, could be a terrorist trying to sneak on the plane, and your tickets are null and void. So they're like, they went home.
Well, it took me like 4 times just to get the fill in the blank stuff, which this phone number that kept coming up that they attributed to me was like weird. It was like not an existent area code for anything.
Not good. That doesn't
and
sound
then
good.
We decided that because I have a lot of like auto inhabit stuff. You hit it, your address comes out and everything comes out. Normally that really works great. But for some reason we were of the mindset. My wife was like standing over me like I'm a moron, and in many ways she was right. But she's standing over me, and I, at one point, it's like, okay, so I'll manually put in the country of origin, and like my finger slipped, and Afghanistan comes up.
No.
Like, that's not going to help me get on board. I'm pretty sure. It's like.
And once you put that in, like that's a Homeland Security notification. Like you're not getting on that plane.
Yeah. Remember when Tom Ridge was running Homeland Security, the first guy they got was Cat Stevens. Just remember that. That was
right.
That's it.
The guy who wrote Peace Train.
Right.
Oh my God. Yeah, traveling is an interesting thing. I don't do enough of it lately. I mean, I used to travel all over. So when I was doing the motorcycle trips, I was doing like Spirit Airlines, like whatever, like $25 flight I could get my hands on. And boy, the extra money is worth it. I'll tell you that.
Well, the Spirit thing is great if you're going, like I was going down to visit a friend in South Carolina. Great. So you got an hour and 40 minutes.
Great.
You can sit on a plywood thing with just some vinyl over it and call it a seat. Like that's okay.
You got
but if you're going, you're going to Utah and they need a chair.
My problem is I'm 6'4", so they have like 4-inch pitch. Like I'm literally, my knees are still up against the chair in front of me from the last flight I was on. Unbelievable. All right, do another song for us.
All right.
We're going to do a musical show tonight.
Exactly.
Man.
Yep.
Keep it tight.
Nick, this is a tribute to you because normally it's Gab. When I wake up early in the morning, lift my head, I'm still yawning when I'm in the middle of a dream. Stay in bed, float upstream, float upstream. Please don't wake me, no, don't shake me, leave me where I am, I'm only sleeping. Everybody seems to think I'm lazy, I don't mind. I think they're crazy, running everywhere, such a speed, till they find There's no need. Please don't spoil my day. I'm miles away, and after all, I'm only sleeping. Keeping an eye on the world going by my window, taking my time, lying there and staring at the ceiling, waiting for that sleepy feeling. Please don't spoil my day. I'm miles away, and after all, I'm only sleeping. Keeping an eye on the world going by my window, taking my time. When I wake up early in the morning, lift my head, I'm still yawning. When I'm in the middle of a dream, stay in bed, float upstream, float upstream. Please don't wake me, no, don't shake me, leave me where I am. I'm only sleeping.
Bill.
Dave.
Hey, man, we must be on the same. I was drumming to the Beatles today.
And I heard.
And I drummed to that song. Now I didn't post it, I don't think, but I was drumming to it. So when you started, I go.
They do it a little faster, right? They do it a little faster.
That's the Beatles. So you do that song before. I tell you, I was like, who is that? That's so familiar. Like, I can't think, like, what record is that on? Or what, like, why don't I know that?
Why did I write that? How did I write that? I don't know. I was sleeping and then I just wrote it. I don't know.
Exactly. It was beautiful, man. You did it good.
Tune. That's a beautiful tune, yeah.
And the tempo was fine.
Yeah, I mean, it's always funny. It's always funny when you're doing, for those of us who don't have an original thought in their head, when you're doing like cover songs, it's like you start doing it and then it becomes the way you do it. And then every once in a while you hear it and you're like, wow, that's completely different.
Right. Like I'll listen to songs I do in a band and I'm like Blues Brothers stuff that I do with the Blues Patrol. And I listen to the original song. I'm like, that's not how it goes. That's not right.
Steve Cropper got it wrong. You got it right.
Right. The drummer, leads us through. Like if we use a different drummer, every once in a while, Barry Urick comes and plays with us when our regular drummer can't do it. But then I realized, like, it's the drummer in that band, not on every song, but that like goes, brata, which tells you, oh, I got to play this now. Right.
Mm-hmm.
And if he's not there, I'm like, I think I just missed what song is this again? Like
it's also too the pickup intro drum beats on like Motown songs in particular are so iconic and so identifiable. Like you just hear them. And in that movie, Standing in the Shadows of Motown, they had the one drummer, I forget it, like Benny Benjamin or somebody, the one drummer who he did his iconic intros and then he did so and so he does it more like this and he does it and you just sit there and you just go like they're all so crazy musical, like there's nothing off the rack 1 2 3 4 go, it's always boom boom
and I wonder
just like,
and I wonder about those guys, like, do they sit home and write those that because that's iconic and like how do you
I don't think they write it at all. I think they just, and most of the Motown guys, most of them came from a jazz background, I think, at least in the beginning they did. And I think they're just feeling it,
Oh, man, Hitsville the snake pit. You know what I'm talking
bad.
about? It all happened in the snake pit.
Right.
That's right, guys. That's right.
That's true. No, I bet you they wrote that. I bet you they went home and they went, I'm going to use this as an intro on one, because there's 1,000 different ones that are recognizable.
I don't know. The guys who were producing that stuff were so good, and it's like the Wrecking Crew. It's like I feel like the guys in Muscle Shoals and Memphis were a little more homogenized. Like they played like Muscle Shoals and Memphis guys played, and when you went there, you were going there to play with those guys and get that sound. Bring Aretha down here, and she's going to do this. But when you went to like the Wrecking Crew or you went to Motown, there was a bit of a chameleon thing going on there where they would sort of, particularly the Wrecking Crew. They would like whatever, like up
like,
and
what do you want? What do you want? We'll do that.
Yeah. Like whatever, it's like.
They're chameleons. Those guys. And those guys in Carol K.
There's a great sequence in the shadows of Standing in the Shadows of Motown about a sequence where Jack Ashford, the guy who sort of one of the leaders of the Funk Brothers, sits there and he kind of jumps up and says, "Okay, here's an example of what we do." And he grabs a tambourine and he starts and he gets his buddies going. And these guys, what was so cool to watch that film about watching that film was these guys, when the film's being made, they're a lot older than they were during those days.
Sure.
But here's the deal. They're so on their game. Gray hair, who gives a shit? These guys are on right on it. And it was very gratifying to see very old seasoned musicians do such a fabulous rendering. And they, if you saw that film, you saw them sort of relive the music, but with contemporary artists, Ben Harper,
right.
John Osborne and others like them. So,
but there's a great, it's probably on YouTube. It's a strip of Bernadette, one of my favorite Four Top songs, and it's a build, like they just do the build, and they show you layer upon layer of the production that goes into it. And there are some elements where you listen to Motown stuff and it's much different than Muscle Shoals, much different than Memphis. There is much more of that production thing. And there's times in the build, and again, I just love this freaking song. And it was also a song that was done by a local Connecticut band that was really good called the Wild Weeds, and they did like a shit ass unbelievable version of that. They were from Connecticut, and Al Anderson ended up being in NRBQ for many, 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 many years. But it's like you hear the build and like you're at a certain point, you go like, I would have been good right there, and then they had like something else, and I would have been good right there, and then you had something, I would have been good right there, like it, it's just, and there's no arguing with the end product. The end product was just always amazing, but and the songs were, I read good books on like Holland, Dozier and Holland, those guys who wrote most of that stuff and produced a lot of it. And, they had Nick Ashford and Valerie Simpson, right? the writers, Smokey, Stevie, Marvin Gaye, hello. They could all decently write a song, most of them.
Yeah. They all have like a smoldering level of talent that's amazing. Like they'll do simple things so well. I played at Ashford and Simpson's Club in New York.
Yeah.
Sugar Bar, right? And I played there, and our bass player couldn't make it, right? David Jane was our bass player in that band, and he couldn't make it. And we're like, shit, what are we going to do? So they called, and they said, I can't remember the fellow's name, but old guy used to be the bass player in Ashford and Simpson. They called him up and they said, come on down. These guys need you to like be their bass player. So he played with us, and he would say, he was like super cool. And we were like, we're doing this song. He's like, never heard of it. Right. And we're like, okay, it's Hall & Oates. We're doing that song. Right. He's like, all right, I'll follow along. Right. And he used to say, what note does it start on? He didn't say what key is it in. And I know this. If you ask a guitar player a lot of time, no offense, if you ask a guitar player what key it's in, they'll tell you whatever the first chord, like the intro will be in like A to E to A, and then it'll be in C, right? It'll like The intro is not always what it's in.
Right.
And so you'll get mixed up answers. Especially like horn players don't know. Hey, they're like, it's in, or harmonica player. Never ask a harmonica player what key it's in. They're like, well, I'm playing the F sharp harp, so it's a G or a D.
Well, it's also too, you'll get like song suggestions from like say singers of bands, and they're often way
in
wrong.
a different key, right? Exactly. And so this guy would say, what's the first note? Right? and we're like, what's the first note? And so the guitar player, or I would like be like, that's a D. And he's like, got it. So when they counted it, 1, 2, 3, 4, he played that note, and then he's like, oh, it's that song. Got it. And then he would go on from there.
Nick and Val Ashford were like, a really great live act too. And I saw them at the City Center in New York, and it's sort of off 6th Avenue, and it's a really cute little theater there. And it was such a friggin' love fest, and Nick next to Val, Nick looked like he was like 7 feet tall. I ran into him at Home Depot because they lived in Westport for a long time. I ran into him at Home Depot when the only Home Depot was the one that was in Fairfield.
Right.
And I see him on the aisle, and I'm like, geez, this guy's like 5'8", like I'm like, and Val's like tiny, but man, they just, it was like they took you to church. It was like, it was a love fest. And I'm at this show, and myself and the friend I went with, we were kind of the palest Yanks in the place, and it was so funny. There was a woman next to me who was standing there, and she's like big, and she's swooning, and she's going, "Oh, Nick, you're going to kill me now." That's what she says, because it was like a friggin' love fest.
Yes.
That's what the restaurant was like. Their vibe at the Sugar Bar was like that. You went in, and all their friends hung out there. It was like you came in, and you're like, oh, you're bringing in us guys because we don't know anybody here.
And all singers, like they know every singer who ever, because Val was a first call, background singer, sang Steely Dan, sang with a million people. But she's first call. She's
I want to say they had a daughter that was like 20 something when we were there. I want to say it was her daughter that came up and sang with us and was like crazy good.
Yeah. No.
So good. All right, Bill Nolan, do one more song, then we're gonna hear something from Nick Carter.
Then we're gonna hear something good.
Yeah, that's it. We'll play the good music.
We're already hearing good.
Let's not do that with a pick. Well, I'm here out of love. I wish I could stay, but I know you heartache. You'll stand in my way. There's no use in wishing, 'cause I ain't satisfied. I'm fit to be misfit when you're by my side. Heartache, find another place to be. I'm tired of being your best friend. Look to another for your companion, and when you do, my pain will end. There's nowhere at all. I'm feeling no pain. My body is sickly. My mind is insane. I call on you, heartache, to come show me how. Can't get no lower than this hole I'm in now. Oh, heartache, find another place to be. I'm tired of being your best friend. Look to another for your companion, and when you do, my pain will sloppy, but that's what makes it cool. Or does it? Who can say?
I like it. I like it.
Very good, Bill.
I like it. Heartache stopped being my own best friend. Very nice image.
Yep.
Lowell George. That's Lowell George from Little
Really
Feat.
good.
But it's a solo song for him.
I like listening
Yeah,
to you, Bill, because I learn every time, it's been a while since I've been on the show with Ed, but every time I'm with you and the group, you have a reservoir of talent. We know this, but also the archives you draw on. It's like, where do these songs come from? It's like, I actually pride myself in having some handle on music history, but it's like, oh, well, yeah, maybe. But then have you spoken to Bill Noman lately?
Yeah. All the I'll tell you where they come from. They come from his iPod. His iPod. They're all in there.
No, it's all good. I really like these songs. 3 songs tonight that except for the Beatles one, I wasn't familiar with and loved every one of them. So thanks.
You know, it's funny. There's a thing that FUV does every day.
Yeah.
They do. You know, Dave. It's a local radio station that plays kind of. It's a college radio station from Fairleigh Dickinson. And it kind of fits the void of baby boomer stuff, you know, and they make stars out of guys like David Gray or, you know, people that sort of, you know, they latch onto people. And it's whenever you see their fundraisers on TV, it's kind of a male pattern baldness show, you know, like you sort of sit there and you're just like, wow, it's like a Channel 13 fundraiser, you know, it's like one of the kind of things. But they have this thing, question of the day every day, you know, and the question of the day, you know, Corny O'Connell, one of their DJs, will play a thematic set, 3 songs every day. And they ask for listeners to contribute. And it's really part of my morning routine. I just go on this thing and I look at it. And you know, there were times when and I go out of my way to suggest things that haven't been suggested. You know, it's like, I forget what it was today, but everybody suggested the same friggin' songs. You know, it was all the same. And I mean, you know, good on them. And they're probably the ones getting the songs played. But it's like, I just pull a bunch of stuff. And at one point, one person like accused me that she was like, you know, what do you just go online at that? I go like, no, every song that I'm suggesting, I literally have in my hand's width, you know, like it's right there. I have these songs. These are not like,
it's on
I'm
the
not
iPod
cheating.
Touch. It's on
I'm not going
iPod.
online and trying to figure it out, you know.
Nick, last Thursday, we had a conversation.
David, you got to like plug your mic in or something. The cable is crackly.
You need to plug your larynx in, I think.
Hold on. What is going on? Are we there?
Yeah, you sound a little funky.
Is it still funky?
No, it's breaking up.
Yeah, you're breaking up pretty bad.
God damn it.
God damn it. Now I hear you. That I heard.
Oh, you heard that? Shit.
No, it's kind of the same.
It's the same.
It was good before.
It had something. It was a good signal a while ago.
We'll let you figure it out. When Nick does a song, you can like unplug everything and plug it back in, and like maybe it'll be better, you know.
Okay.
By the way, Nick, I saw you posted today on Facebook, right? I mean, I don't know if you posted, but I saw you on Facebook, so
Yep.
I'm glad you're here. So you're playing somewhere, right?
Yeah, I played last night at a restaurant up here in Vermont.
Nice.
And I've been there.
Oh, that's where you are. You're in Vermont.
I'm in Vermont. Yeah, I'm in the cellar of a cottage we have up here.
Nice.
And but anyway, yeah, that was a nice gig. It's a small restaurant. They're actually closing at the end of the month, but I've been there a few times over the years. And yeah, I mean, it was a good gig. I had, I don't know, 15, 20 people came in because they knew I was there.
Nice.
That's a monster turnout in my book, 15, 20 people, you know.
Yeah, you know, I'll take it. And,
are they closing seasonal or are they closing?
They're closing to regroup. It's a key. One big issue is they've got 2 chefs that are really good, but one wants to go on his own and do his own thing as a chef in his own business. And the other one wants to sort of go back to cooking school and expand his skill set. So they're kind of caught without talent.
An identity
All
crisis.
right, if they just want scrambled eggs, I'll do it. Just
I know.
give me the phone
Got it.
number,
Right,
you know.
right. Exactly. But anyway.
Want turkey burgers and scrambled eggs. There you go.
Right. But it's a good gig. Hopefully they get back in business because we got a good relationship and they, you know, it goes over well when I'm there. And so we'll see. We'll have
That's
to see.
good.
Yep.
That's good.
So,
Well, very cool. Well, Bill Nolan, thank you very much.
Hey, you're welcome.
hey, Bill, good
Super.
sound. Good to hear you.
And Nick, by the way, this is Bill's show. This is not my show. Bill runs this show, at least the first hour.
Yeah, no, I came early because I knew Bill would be playing. I wanted to hear him. Absolutely.
I don't know. I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing, but
No. I it's been so goddamn long since we've been in the same room together. I mean,
That's true.
That's
true.
And that fact, I don't like being used to that condition because I miss, hanging out with everybody.
well, it's
Let
funny.
me ask you. Yeah, go ahead, Bill.
No, well, I was just saying that, things come up, things pop up on Facebook, and, something popped up today that was, a set from back at Bobby Q's. And I just, it was like, it was such a great, fun place to play. And, in particular, it worked out really well for me because I got to do like a real friggin' set, like at the beginning. Right. And it was like, it was just, there's no substitute for that. It's true. Nick, I missed, I liked when we did have the chance every once in a while to sing together, which was fun. And
yeah, absolutely.
It's so funny. It segued into the show because Bill, my jams and my events there's never a fixed structure. I don't like fixed structure. It's not like, okay, you get 3 songs, put your name on the list. You get 3 songs in the order, or whatever. I'm not like that. I'm like, if somebody's waiting for somebody, I can shuffle it around and give somebody some extra, whatever. And Bill was like, well, let me tell you what I want. I don't want to do 3 songs. I want to do 10. And I was like, okay, let's figure out how to make that work.
Yeah.
Not everybody wants to do 10. A lot of people want to do their 2 songs and or 3, maybe be out. And Bill's like, nah, I'm not warmed up until 4,
Right.
And so we transferred that into Jam TV. Like it was like the Bill Nolan hour was always the first of 4 hours. And I don't even think you saw Jam TV. You didn't watch the rest of the Jam TVs when they were new.
No, I don't think so.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, for me, it was like I would watch stuff post. I would watch.
Right.
I would watch it after the fact. I when I cut out, it's because I'm hungry. And
there it is. You got to go cook your dinner, and then the show is still on for 2. It's like flying to India, or flying to South Africa. It's like or Senegal, right? It's like if you go to Europe. I used to work in Europe. I used to literally once a week on an airplane to Europe, and you go to Europe, and you get on the plane, you sit down, and you have a drink, and then you wait for dinner, and then there's something, and you're at altitude, and you got to go to the bathroom, and you come back, and then you watch it. They serve the dinner, and then they bring out some dessert and whatever, the duty free card, and then you watch a movie, and you go to sleep for an hour, and you're there, right? You do all that stuff going to South Africa, and you still have 20 hours left on the flight.
Right.
It's like endless, and that's what the show was like in the early when it was 4 hours. It was like Bill would do the first.
Jam TV was like flying to India on Spirit Airlines.
Here it is. Exactly.
Well done. Well said.
At least we were flying,
Hey, exactly. On Spirit Air. I love it.
For a period of time, anyway.
I know. Yeah, no, I hearing you do that Beatles song, I finally sat down this week. My wife's been away this week, and so between getting ready for this gig this week, I've got a couple of them this week, but between getting ready for them, I finally sat down and watched Get Back, the Beatles documentary.
Oh yeah.
And holy shit.
Well, how many hours of it did you watch?
I watched a couple hours a couple months ago, but then I sat down this week over the period of about 3 days, caught the last 4 hours.
Yeah.
Holy. And here's what I forget who I was talking to about it yesterday, but it's like if you have had the experience of sitting in a studio, working with people, getting the songs done and recording and working a song and trying this out, trying another way of the same song, a different way, trying to do it this way, that kind of tedium, if you haven't done it, you might go crazy watching them do it. Right. I mean, the back and the fourth and the scratch and the hits and, but it was fun to watch them. And finally on the rooftop, it was great. It was great.
Well, that movie to me blew my mind. For one thing, it was way too long. It was way too, fly on the wall, but still fascinating because of the people you're talking about. But the superstar of that whole thing was Billy Preston by far. And to me, he galvanized that whole session by coming in there with the bona fides of George having seen him play with Ray Charles, and it's like suddenly you had a guy that could cut through all the, the internal bullshit that was going on in the band at that time. And he was a guy that had nothing but respect. Like they all respected him. And his contributions, I actually didn't know, the electric piano. I thought it was maybe McCartney. I didn't even know that, I didn't know what it was. And then I really didn't know that Billy Preston's name was on the label of the records. It was like the Beatles with Billy Preston, and it's like, I was completely, I had no idea of that. And he really, he brought a positivity, and musicianship was off the charts anyway. As a kid, there's YouTube videos of him as like, he's like 7 years old or something and killing it, but it's like he brought that thing that kind of when Clapton did the solo on Guitar Gently Weeps, like suddenly they accepted the George song because George brought Eric with him, and you couldn't crap on George on that one, but it was like Billy Preston. Wow. He was the star.
You used the word galvanize, and it was noticeable.
Yes.
You watch him sort of enter the story, and all of a sudden the other four sort of, okay, now we're in business again.
There was respect, like they had a lot of good things going for them, without the help of anyone. Oh, by the way, thank you. But when you bring in somebody like a Billy Preston, who just so immediately makes contributions that you sit there and you go like, wow, we could have been here for 20 years and we might not have done that, and it was just,
See, now I got to watch it. So
really
what channel was this thing on? How do you watch this thing?
Well, it was on Apple, right? Or Disney
channel. If you can believe
Disney or Apple?
Yeah. Disney Channel, Apple TV, Disney Channel.
Yeah.
And we at one point, I had to upgrade the Apple TV to get the Disney Channel that carried this particular broadcast because I've got older versions of it on another TV or at home, and I couldn't access the Beatles show. Right.
Yeah, and I'm still playing right into the hands of the ghost of Walt Disney because I haven't gotten rid of it yet, and really I could. It's like I'm not watching like Mulan or the fucking Little Mermaid. It's like,
yeah, right.
No, I don't need that shit. But
I gotta watch that. I didn't realize Billy Preston was so heavily involved in the documentary.
No, it's a game changer. That just blew my mind. Because I just didn't know, and I certainly didn't know his name was on the label of the singles.
I didn't know that. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. But the thing that that and the genesis of Get Back, like how that started. It just started as like sort of a groove thing from McCartney, and then it sort of goes, and it's just, it's really a fun peek behind the curtain of how. And it's not like it's not like I Am the Walrus or something. It's kind of a groove song. But it's like. They put on their pants two legs, one leg at a time, but still they're the fucking Beatles, and it's
it was cool to watch them before Preston came, to watch them sort of suss out the groove for that and just kind of, for hours. And I've talked with other songwriters and some of them say, oh yeah, I sit with stuff and I just kind of groove and pronounce syllables and oohs and ahs and work some chords for a very long time before something gels. Well, guess what? So did McCartney.
Yeah. Right. I mean, the original title for Yesterday was Scrambled Eggs.
Right.
Like that was his original, like nonsensical, just syllabic kind of insertion,
Yeah.
Although I'll tell you this, I saw a clip on YouTube or whatever it was the other day. It popped up, and it was the title of it was something like when the moment that that Paul discovered, I want to say it was Dear Prudence, right? And so it might have been, I think it was that song, and he's at a guitar and he's a bunch of people around, he's in the studio and he's just fucking around, like he's like trying some chords and sliding around and whatever, and then he's just sticking around, and then all of a sudden he goes, oh, oh, and then he plays Dear Prudence, and they're like, no, that's not the moment he just got, like, he pretended like, oh, now I'm just making this up, as I, you know what I mean? Like 100 hours of playing wouldn't work later. They had it where they needed it to be to record it.
You know, they go to visit the Maharishi. You know, they do that famous trip, and in that trip, you know, I think Donovan taught them sort of the Travis picking. And, you know, out of that comes, like, you know, Blackbird, Rocky Raccoon, like, you know, the White Album, a lot of that stuff came, like Sexy Sadie was actually about the Maharishi.
I think it was Blackbird, now that you mention it. So
yeah, but it was the kind of thing where, you know, he kind of learned a lot of that from, like, Donovan, you know.
Right.
You know, it's like they were all, you know, they were just, I mean, it's impossible. And I would guess, Ed, you know, with your students, you know, it's probably impossible to impress upon them, you know, how, you know, monumental that group was, just in terms of how much they changed. You know, it's like, to me, it's almost like, you know, Dylan and the Beatles, and then, you know, everybody did variations on that, you know, to some extent. You know, one guy's the poet, and the other people are like the adventurous musical people, and you know, it's just, you know, the stuff that they were sponges too, though. They were listening. They heard stuff. They you know, they fed off other people. They fed off Brian Wilson. They fed off, like, a lot of people. You know, like, they had more respect for Brian Wilson than his own fucking band did. You know, for Christ's sake.
Yeah. I saw this documentary recently, Little Richard. About, and so, you know, the documentary's thesis is, okay, stop everybody. Little Richard was the source. And this is what he says. He was the source. He was the disruptor, and he was the source of everything. And there, you know, there is some, when you think about some of the things he did early on, he certainly was ahead of his time in a lot of ways. But there's one segment of the documentary that really struck me. He's playing, and he finally goes to England, and he's highly acclaimed in England, and he plays to standing room only crowds in England in the early 60s.
Right.
And his touring route takes him to Liverpool.
Okay.
And he's approached. And the approach basically says, Richard, if you have a minute, there's 4 young men who really admire you. And they're just getting started. They're not well known yet, except really locally. And they'd love to meet you.
Yeah.
You have a few minutes to meet them. And he said, well, of course. Well, of course, it's the Beatles.
Okay.
And the story is that it is Little Richard who took them to Hamburg. And that's where I'm throwing it out on the table with some music lovers right here tonight. Kind of, I don't know if that comports with your sense of history. It's cool to think if it's true, because I was very impressed as I watched the documentary. Richard was a really weird guy in many ways. And, you know,
and he went through, you know, a strange arc of, Jesus freak, homosexual, crazy guy, like, you know, like,
he was gay and very promiscuous, not cruel to people. He had a lifestyle that probably alienated or freaked people out, but he wasn't overtly cruel to anybody except his own body, I suppose, you know. And so it's said in the documentary that it is he who took them to Hamburg. And I just wondered if that comports. I was intrigued.
I'm not sure about that. I'm not sure that that's.
I can imagine he'd be like, I got a connection in a brothel in Hamburg, and you guys are going to be big someday. We're going to play down there.
Well, you know, there was another artist who was down in the South who Richard copped stuff from.
That's right. The
guy's name was like Escarita or Esca.
Yeah,
like this. And he was more flamboyant than Richard was.
Yes.
And he was doing, you know, he's playing in high heels before Richard was doing it. He's, you know, and he had like the bandana and the, you know, the fuchsia outfits and the whole thing. Yep. And, you know, Richard copped some of that. But that being said, you know, like I had this conversation with somebody last week, and we were talking about, like, there's Richard, there's like Chuck Berry.
Yeah.
You know, and those 2 guys, like, really, to me, you know, so the question is Jerry Lee Lewis, is he like an original, or is he somewhat derived from Richard, like whatever? But those guys are really the roots guys. And I mean, I think Chuck Berry to me is undeniable. Like Chuck Berry, even though his piano player did a lot of was responsible for a lot of stuff too, but it's like Richard, man, to me, and all of that, all of that stuff,
You're right, but I'll tell you,
Escovita or whatever his name was.
I'll tell you, like there's a long history. I'm not a historian of it, but there's a history of the black artist came up with the new thing. This was going back to the 30s, 20s in jazz and whatever. And they're like, God, this is great music. And they're like, we could sell this music to a white audience as long as a white guy is performing it. And they did this for years. They would the black guy would develop it and work it and get it out there, and then they'd be discovered and they'd replace him with a white guy.
Well, yeah,
and bring it to a white audience because that's the way the world was back then.
Pat Boone, 2 words for you. Pat Boone doing Blue Suede Shoes. I mean, Blue Suede Shoes wasn't even a black song, but it was like, it's like, no, that's, I mean, it's, but
yeah, I'd like to have more examples of that, but that's how the industry works. So I wouldn't be surprised if Jerry Lee Lewis was like, all right, we like that guy over there, Little Richard, but you're the one who's going to sell the records and fill the.
I gotta say, Jerry Lee though had more fucked up bona fides than Pat Boone did. Jerry Lee was a legitimate. Married his 12-year-old cousin. Like he was
not out there.
He was. And also too, if you're a piano player, like I had this one friend who ended up having, some difficulties. I think he had like a bad psychedelic experience in college. And that being said, he could play, the 2-hand, honky-tonk kind of guitar thing. Piano thing, like Jerry Lee. Because Jerry Lee, like to me, left hand, right hand kind of stuff, man, that guy could really kill that shit. A whole lot of shaking going on, like that stuff is just insane. And Richard's stuff was to me like, his vocal stuff was so amazing on top of it all, But I mean, I don't know. Like Jerry Lee to me is I just don't know whether I don't know. Like he and Little Richard, like to me they could be. I wouldn't call them equals because to me Richard is Richard, man, and Richard is crazy ass fun.
Just listen to the rhythm track of Lucille, right?
Yeah.
I mean, holy shit. I mean, Can You Sit Still?
There's a couple of things he did early too. I don't know what you got, but it's got me. It's a blues song, and it's Richard, and it's like it's a bit different. I don't know. He's recording on Prestige or one of those old like blues labels, but it's a very different vibe. It's very much a blues song, and it's really worth worth listening to. And he did this other song that we did a version of it with Crispin and Friends. Now I'm blanking on the thing, but anyway, well, there you go.
To be continued. We'll look that all up and we'll become a historical show. It's a good segment.
I go back. Just one quick missive about all this. When I was still a teacher, I had a music history course, and I taught the kids just different stuff. And during the springtime, it was always rock and roll history.
Right.
And so rock and roll history and the emergence of the black artists and how the black artists scared the hell out of the establishment. And yet how people like Pat Boone and others somehow gave it legitimacy. But one day I asked the guys and the kids in the class, I said, I'm going to play you 2 tracks. I'm going to play you Little Richards. I'm going to play you. Oh, I guess I lost you here.
No, we're here.
I'm here.
Uh-oh.
We're good. Yellow.
Something's going wrong. Internet connection issue.
I hear you.
All right, Bill Norman, do a song and let's sort this stuff out.
We get lost here. What happened?
Okay.
Yeah, he's up. Are you back?
I'm here. Did I lose you guys?
Oh, we have a big echo now.
We're good.
I hear a huge echo.
Where, me?
Yeah, I say drop out and come back.
Yeah. Be right back.
So there you go. And now Bill Nolan.
Oh man.
Warren Zevon.
I went home with a rush, waitress, the way I always do. Well, how was I to know she was with the Russians too? I was gambling in Havana. I took a little risk. St. Louis guns and money, yeah. Daddy, get me out of this. I am an innocent bystander, but somehow I got stuck between a rock and a hard place, and I'm down on my luck. Well, I'm down on my luck. I was hiding in Honduras. I am a desperate man. St. Louis guns and money, yeah. The shit has hit the fan. Then Lloyd's guns and money. St. Louis guns and money. I am an innocent bystander, but somehow I got stuck between a rock and a hard place, and I'm down on my luck. Well, I'm down on my luck. Down on my luck. Down on my luck.
Yeah.
Wow.
Boy, I miss Warren. I
Down
miss
on my
that
luck.
man.
Yeah.
You know, I was a very late comer to Warren. You know, like I sort of like Werewolves of London. To me, I considered it kind of a novelty song, and I didn't really get it. I mean, it's on me. I didn't, you know, obviously it ain't on him. You know, he's freaking awesome. But once I was indoctrinated, I couldn't get rid of it. You know, I went through a period of time where like it was all I listened to. You know.
Well, he was big in Colorado. Were you in Colorado when you discovered Warren Zevon, or was it before that?
No, way later than that. I was in
later
Rowayton when I discovered him.
Because the reason I know Warren Zevon is that he played in the stadium or whatever it was, the basketball arena, literally 100 yards from my dorm when I was a freshman in Boulder. And
by the way, as a CU student, this is your time right now with your friggin' football team.
Okay, so listen, I got to tell you the truth. The truth is, when I was at Boulder, the team was like 0-1,000,000. Like they were like, they never won a game. No one went to the games. They had mascot that was a buffalo or something, and
It's
nobody would.
Ralphie. It's
Right,
Ralphie.
right.
Ralphie. But he's
Right.
like a real live buffalo. He's not
Right.
some fucking guy in a buffalo suit. He's a fucking buffalo.
And nobody went to the games. I didn't go to one game. And then like 10 years later, I was at a gig or something, and some guy came up and went, I was wearing a CU something shirt or whatever. And he came up and he goes, "Did you go to CU?" "Oh, yeah." And he's telling me all about football. And I'm like, "Football? What are you talking about? They're awful." Apparently they're doing great. So
Well, they have a coach, Deion Sanders, who came from the NFL, and he was like, he's a big guy, and he's rejuvenated the team. They're 3-0 right now. But it's funny, they showed pictures because I went to the University of Denver. We didn't have a football team, so
right.
I would go to football games at Boulder, because they were in the Big 12 in those days, and they're playing Nebraska and Oklahoma.
Right.
Maybe not Texas wasn't there, but Nebraska and Oklahoma anyway. And those teams were always in like the top 10. And in those days, it was a horseshoe, and now it's totally enclosed. And I saw like some aerial shot of the thing, and it's like there's something a little bit impressive about Folsom Stadium and the mountains in the background, like right there. Like those little mountains. They're not like big mountains,
Yeah,
but
but they're
Hickory
beautiful.
Canyon and that kind of stuff. Like it's just
Right.
right there. And this is their time, though. They're playing Oregon this weekend, and we'll see how that goes. But
Very cool.
But
All right. And you're going to be in Utah. Yeah, you're going
I'm going to Utah tomorrow, and like as I said, it's my annual testosterone trip to see my son.
Fantastic.
But
Nice.
we also part of that for at least one more year. They're still in the Pac-12, while there is still a Pac-12, and
is that
they'll
the
be
game
playing.
with
I go out there. There's always a football game, and
is that
they'll
the
be
game
playing.
with the ball that's like an eyeball, like it's brown?
Yes,
throw
it's a
it?
prolate. It's
It's
you're,
that game,
you're an
yeah, okay.
engineer, right? It's a prolate spheroid.
Yeah,
it's
right.
like with laces on it, and they're going to be playing UCLA, which is great. And with my son Miles's buddies, I go out there and I stay with them. It's frigging hilarious. I'm in there. They're like, Mr. Noma, do another shot of Tito's. Like it's that kind of thing. And frankly, I know how to do it better than they do. Like, I'm less likely to end up on the floor than they are. But you go out there, and I'm kind of like the lucky charm there, because this is probably the 5th year I'm doing this, because my son's almost 30 and he graduated and he stayed out there. It might even be the 6th year or something. I've yet to see them lose, like in their stadium.
Nice.
And I actually sent them because they're the Utes have like, it's red is their color. And I sent them this red rabbit's foot that I put together with this very garish keychain thing, and they hang it on their mantle, like it's on the mantle. And I've got like a reputation here. They can't lose under my watch. That's like, if they lose, it'll be a bummer. But
So your fault.
Yeah.
Good stuff. All right, Nick Carter, play a song, would you?
Yeah. Okay.
What you been doing? What you been doing lately? What have you been?
I've just been doing this summer. Had a gig about a little. I laughed with a friend. I've been doing a gig about 1 3/4 gigs every week. So I mean, it's like the way you add them up, So doing something every week, and sometimes more. This week I've got 3 of them, and I'm
Glad
not.
to hear that.
I'm glad I'm doing them.
Is that 3 of them including rounding off the fractions, or is that like 3 gigs?
You're right. Exactly. No.
1.5 gig with anher 1.0 gig and a 2.5 gig.
It's if you look at my website, the numbers dropped off because I haven't been adding to. But at one point but it doesn't really matter. These are gigs. They're virtual. They're in person. They're songwriter rounds and all that shit. I'm just glad to be this busy.
I'm glad for you too.
Although not paying a hell of a lot. So this is a song. I'm not sure. I am working on the next album. Some of the songs you've heard, but I don't know if you heard this one. And it's just about the times we're in, and it's kind of different. It's song. My effort to take a song in a different direction than what I think you might come to expect from me, the way I write. So here we go. Is that coming through okay? Okay. I wake up in the dark, Feel my anger toss and turn. Memories strike a spark. Grudges start to burn. Talk behind my back, I can hear it still. Cuts like broken glass, it always will. Rage feels sweet, but it brings no relief. Buried in my heart hides my relief. Forgiveness, set forgiveness free. I heard it as a child. Don't turn the other cheek. But there's never any mercy left over for the meek. Don't get mad, get even. They always say, don't let them off the hook. Make them pay. Crushed by the weight of vendetta, gotta find a way that's better. Forgiveness, set forgiveness free. Forgiveness, set forgiveness free. I've done wrong, been unkind. Gotta find a little love left in the world. Broken as I am, I just need a little for myself. Forgiveness, set forgiveness free. Forgiveness, set forgiveness free. Forgiveness, set forgiveness free. Forgiveness, forgiveness, set forgiveness free. Little on the
Nice, Nick.
Is that drop D? Is that
top D? Yeah. Kind of
Nice.
little more moody thing than that I love you shit that I usually write.
Question, Nick. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
Okay. What's happening with your guitar? Explain that neck to me.
The neck?
Yeah. And
Well,
yes,
that looks like the headstock looks huge on
the
that
head.
thing.
Look at that. Explain that, Nick. What's
It
going
might
on?
just
Yeah.
be it might just be that it's close to the camera or something. It looks
Well,
really
it's,
unique.
It's huge.
Longer. It's a bit longer.
It's-
It's a Kraut, 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 made by Raymond Kraut. I guess he runs a small guitar shop in Arizona.
The Germans do not like to be called that anymore.
he's not German? Yeah, really.
You're right, exactly. Very good point. But all the point that, given the size of this,
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, it's I've been told that sometimes a larger headstock, or sometimes people put extensions on the headstock
Uh-huh.
to boost the bass feel of it. But anyway, that's what it is.
Yeah, serious. Look.
Yeah, it's great.
Pretty cool.
Yeah.
So, but it's I mean, it's got a nice low bass, nice rumble to it. I really
Yeah, those Krauts know how to make guitars,
They know how to pour concrete. The friggin' Krauts know how to pour concrete. I went to Denmark and like the pillboxes were still like completely intact.
No
It was
shit.
unbelievable.
No shit.
Absolutely. Frankfurt, not so much, but you
Took
know.
my father to Normandy in the mid '90s, and we went to Puente Hawk, where the guns were shooting
Right.
down on Utah Beach, and where the Rangers climbed the wall and had to do what they had to do, and it's unbelievable. I mean, it's the damn thing is the bunker's still there.
Right.
It'll always be there.
Yeah,
Concrete. Right. They know how to do that. It's
Yeah,
like,
no kidding, Bill. Absolutely.
Yeah, the aliens are going to come to Earth and they're going to be like, "What the hell happened here? What is this?"
Right.
Exactly.
All right, what else you got? Do another one for us, would you?
Okay. What have I got here? I think you've heard this. It basically goes, everybody hates Monday. And God, don't we love Fridays, right? Here we go. Monday's feeling mean. Tuesday said, I told you so. After Wednesday's what if I have had enough. Second thoughts on Thursday. Sometimes that's the worst day. By the next night, I need a little love. So that's when I go where the bass puts down the beat. And take you there, we'll shake off the weed. In the arms of Friday night, down on the floor, we're spinning in the night. And I love that glove tight fit. It's as close as a kiss. And the whiskey whispers everything's alright. In the arms of Friday night. In the arms of Friday night. You're in that sky blue satin dress, and I'm in my favorite jeans. And the Telecaster is talking to the drum. Now my wallet's good and ready, and we'll dance through every penny, two-stepping through the night till morning comes. In the arms of Friday night, we're finally leaving Monday far behind. Now your eyes look at me and say, you're my weekend runaway. And the whiskey whispers everything's alright. In the arms of Friday night. All week long the news comes down harder, like we're caught inside a worldwide hit and run. But day 5 comes again, and the checkered flag flies again, and I find you right behind that setting sun. A Friday night, down on the floor, they're turning up the lights, and the last song is Desperado. You take my hand and I just follow, and the whiskey whispers go and hold her tight. In the arms of Friday night, in the arms of Friday night, arms of Friday night. Go and hold her tight. In the arms of Friday night.
Oh yeah. Very nice.
So working on that a little bit. So thank you very much.
by the way,
So are you writing?
the piece,
What's that?
What's that, Bill?
no, I was just saying that that piece of the artwork, like really, when you go full screen on that thing, the artwork is insanely awesome. You know.
This thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, good. I'm
Yes.
glad you like it. I appreciate that. Yeah, Tabia was very happy to be giving it. It was a nice, very thoughtful moment for sure.
So what are you doing? You're not recording now. You're writing, or what are you up to?
I am writing. I've got
Right.
the 2 songs you've heard, plus a couple of others. I've got 6 or 7 that are that are sort of ready. I'm done with them and ready to go to the studio. I want to get at least, as everybody says, if you got 7 songs done, you want 3 or 4 more to take to the studio. Well, write about 10 more, right? Tough it out and write about 10 and see if you can cull out of that pile something worth hanging on to. So that's kind of what I'm doing. And it's, it's fun, but it's lonely, it's solitary, and it's a pain in the ass, but I'm glad I'm doing it. I'm glad I'm healthy enough to do this kind of stuff, and it's all legal, So
that's great. Always great to see you, Nick. Always great to have you on the show. So how much time are you spending where these days? Like, you're moving around a lot these days. I
have been moving around a bit. I had a fair number of events up here in Vermont in the last couple of weeks, so I'm right up here.
Right.
But I'm going back to Connecticut, and I'll be down there through a lot of October. I have uncovered a couple of really nice venues, however, back up here, where they're very supportive. They like the work. And, I've said before, if I could just have a couple of really nice venues to play regularly.
Right.
And by regularly, I mean, 3-4 times a month, at least, if not more.
Right.
You know what I mean? I mean, we're
would be nice. Yeah.
We're incentive. Polish your covers, get some good originals out there, trot them out, build some rapport with people.
And what town are you in? What town in Vermont?
I'm in Charlotte, Vermont, which is about a half an hour south from the heart of Burlington.
Right. Great.
And nice little town, small town. It's Burlington. Burlington's the heartbeat, and there's these little other outlying places that are very, they're very much satellites, but they're vibrant little communities, So but I miss Connecticut, and I miss doing a Thursday night thing. When I'm back down in Connecticut, I'm going to go up to, find some other open mics, Horseshoe or others, just to see.
Right. Well, I look forward to seeing you when you're in town. What about you, Norman? What are you doing? Where are you playing?
Yeah.
I'm doing stuff. I'm playing with Kurt and Helen next Saturday, like not this coming, but the one after it. We're playing something. It's like an 11:30 a.m. gig. It's like, I think it might be one of those sports jams or one of those kind of things.
All right.
With Timmy DeHoff and good. I think Barry's on that one. Barry Urick is on that. And we're doing Crispin Seal and friends. We're doing the Horseshoe on Monday, October 9th, if that's a Monday.
Nice.
And,
really? I might be around. I'd love to come see you.
You should come down because
we'll make it a reunion.
It starts at 7. Our set is over from like 7 to 8.
Yeah, but then
and then there's an open mic, and you could come down there and do your thing too. That would be fun.
Yeah.
I'm putting you in my calendar. So.
Yeah. I mean, it's the last time we played there, we got a lot of rehearsal time, which actually paid off a lot. This time, I'm having a little trouble herding the kittens a little, and just getting everybody to sort of focus. I want to have like a set list of some sort, just so I can just give it out to people. Because now it's like I don't know, we're 2 weeks out or something like that, where when we were 3 weeks out, I thought that would have been a good time to do, but it doesn't matter. It'll be great. Crispin's great.
Bill, on that band, do you have the reed player, the sax player in the setting?
Yeah, we have Crispin CO who really, and Crispin is like the, he's the name of the band.
I see. Okay.
I was very impressed. He toured with the Stones, toured with Aerosmith, toured with Jay Giles, played on James Brown's comeback album, Living in America. He did, this guy's, it's not like, he doesn't have like secondhand anecdotes of stuff. I know a guy who knew a guy. He is the guy who knew, who played the track, and he lives in Westport, and, but he likes this thing, and he and I both share that kind of musicology kind of thing. And we're kind of always looking for interesting cuts, rootsy cuts, that kind of stuff, balanced with some other things that are a little more familiar. And Eddie, my friend Eddie Wright's the bass player, and he's a great musician. And
sure is.
And this particular gig, Barry Urick is playing, and he did our last one, which was, I don't know, maybe it was March or something. I don't know when it was, but the March one, we hadn't played together in 3 years. You know, it was like a COVID thing. You know, like we hadn't played in 3 years. It was bizarre, but it's fun. It's always, you know, when we play there, it's fun. And the Horseshoe is just a great place because it's very friendly to music. It's very, you know, if you can just get Billy Foster to shut the fuck up, if you can just get him here. I saw him like last night, you know, like Ray Simonelli had something going on at Magic 5 for a woman, Sasha, I don't know her last name, but I guess she was a bartender at a bunch of places. And, you know, Ray had a bunch of people. He asked me if I would show up and play some songs.
Sasha Amira?
You know, I owe Ray a lot of favors. You know, he's gotten me a lot of gigs, you know, so I had no problem doing that. And it's so funny. Foster is there. It's like, you know, and he did some songs too, but it's like when he goes to the bar, it's like, shut, you know, like I'm just like, Billy, easy. You know?
I know. He's a great guy. He is.
Yeah.
Real
Good stuff. All right, gentlemen, that's it for Jam TV tonight. Great. to
Hey,
see
wait
all
a
of you.
minute.
Great.
Wait a minute. You didn't ask me what I'm going to be doing.
What are you going to be doing, Dave?
On Sunday, I'm going to be hanging out with Eric Clapton.
You are not.
I sure am.
What does that mean?
How do you keep that all bottled up? Come on, spill the
Because
beans. What's going on?
that's why I was late on Jam TV tonight.
So
I
what's
was
the deal?
on my phone. I was on, my son-in-law, Steve, love
Yeah.
him dearly. We're going to be heading out. We're going to crypto.com, which used to be the Staples Center. Staples Center. We're going down there, man, and we're hanging out with Crossroads, man.
Wow.
Oh.
Nice.
Do you understand? Yes, it's going to be beautiful. We're going to be all up
Pretty
in
good.
it
So does he do that?
all day.
Does he? So he does that. He does that there, like he used to do it in Texas, right? Like that's
That is
Fundraiser?
correct. That's correct. But he's
and
doing
it's the
it
same
Saturday.
fundraiser for the
It's
same charity.
Same thing. Yes, Bill.
Wow.
Saturday and Sunday. We're going Sunday. And
Nice.
they got a whole lot of venue for people who are going to be attending and stuff happening there. So I don't know. I don't know if I'm going to buy another drum set. I don't know. Oh my God, the camera's moving on me.
Whoa.
It's yeah, man. I don't know. Stay tuned. I got another set.
Sell
That
those
sounds
Tiffany
great.
lamps, and you can buy more drum sets. That's-
Oh my God. Well, yeah, I didn't even plug my gig because you can't go. You can't get sold out. It's in Campo Beach. It's the Lobster Fest. The pay is decent pay, and they give you 2 lobsters and corn. That's all I'm saying.
Oh my God.
So
Nice.
Fantastic.
it's going to be blowing 30 miles an hour, and it's going to be pouring rain, and
shit.
we'll see how that goes. You know.
Okay.
Yeah. Fingers crossed.
Okay.
I'll be thinking of you in Utah, where the weather will be fabulous.
Yes.
I know it
no,
will.
no.
Yes.
That's
All
my
right.
life.
Good luck
That's
with the,
my life.
good luck with the red rabbit's foot there, Bill, and the
Phenomenal.
ritual with the guys.
Go Utes!
All right.
Welcome, Dad. All right, good to see you guys. And,
Love you guys. Love
to
you.
see you. This
Love
is
you, Dave.
100,
See you.
Yeah.
160 shows we've been doing this thing. Can you believe
Wow.
it? 107. Oh, now everything
Here we
went
go.
haywire. He pushed the
There we
button.
go.
Everything going haywire. So anyway, great to see you guys. And
All right.
Now for something completely different.
That was quite a show.